How's it going, everyone? It is I, Karlon, the Muncher of the Taco. And I want to talk about the crazy news that has been coming out over the last week or so for Warhammer 40k. For those that don't know, the official Warhammer Twitter account recently tried to gaslight fans into believing a certain fact. What would that fact be, you may ask? Well, they tried, big emphasis on the word tried, to convince fans that female custodians have always been in the Adeptus Custodes.
What you say is heresy.
Okay. Now, for anyone that is a fan of Warhammer 40k, like myself, if you know anything about the lore, you know this is wrong. You know this is a retcon, and that they're straight up gaslighting us. Because the Adeptus Custodes have always been men. And there's not just lore reasons. I mean, even a basic trip down the story of Warhammer 40k will give you a good idea of why this is the case. Now, of course, as bad as that is, and believe me, it is bad, it has, of course, yet again, started up the usual argument between the main fan base and the vocal minority that happens to be among the fan base that believes there needs to be more representation, specifically for women, amongst certain factions of Warhammer. Now, of course, I could go into an entire video just discussing why that is ridiculous, but I will simply say this. Warhammer 40k has possibly the largest amount of female representation I have ever seen in a franchise. And to force more of it into areas of the story that do not need it, it's just ridiculous. At that point, you will begin to devalue the characters that are already in the game. Sisters of Battle, that's the easiest one that comes to mind, but there's other groups, individuals out there that would also begin to be devalued by just starting to diversify every group. I mean, literally everything just starts to become the same thing. What's the point? But in my opinion, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the problems of Games Workshop's IP here. Because, let's face it, GW has had a ton of problems over the last few years, maybe even the last 10 years. Not just when it comes to marketing, not just when it comes to socializing with its community, but just their products alone. I mean, where should I even begin? Product quality, product manufacturing, fulfilling orders, especially pre-orders. Yes, because there's nothing like pre-ordering something, supposedly going to get it on a certain day, and then, oh, look at that. Gotta wait 7 more months. Once again, never pre-order. And let's not forget, this is the company that decided to just go to war with every single fan animation on YouTube. I think we all remember what happened to Astartes. All to basically bring more value to a subscription service that, frankly, is not even worth the money. Can we talk about the price? The prices of all of these miniatures? Just tell me this. Why should I buy a Games Workshop Titan when I could just buy a 3D printer, a decent quality one, the materials to print with, and some good quality 3D models that I get from some decent third-party artists, and basically have a table-ready army for about the same price or less? But coming right back around to that original reply message, you should be afraid of this, because this basically means that Games Workshop from this point forward will more than likely start to erode everything about Warhammer 40k. More than likely, Warhammer Age of Sigmar too. Why do I say this? Because we've seen it with too many other franchises. Anytime a developer or a production house start retconning stories, characters, events, just anything that basically helps to define the overall franchise. Said franchise just starts to crumble. Star Wars. Do I even need to say anything about that? I mean, this was a sci-fi giant. You could put Star Wars on anything and it would sell. But now, the majority of people that hear the words Star Wars cringe. And/or they just have apathy because it's not Star Wars anymore. It's the pseudo Star Wars-ish story that Disney has created. And the same thing is more than likely, in my opinion, going to happen here. There's a reason I said this is the tip of the iceberg, because once you start seeing cracks in the foundation like this, the cracks are just going to get worse and worse until they become chasms. Now, I hope that doesn't happen. But considering the fact that Games Workshop has been having so many issues with its community and its customer base, and frankly, it looks like it's in pretty deep trouble lately, I don't really see this getting better. In fact, I see it getting worse. I see factions getting details and lore just completely changed up. Female orcs, male sisters of battle, peaceful Necrons. Warhammer 40k, as an E for everyone game, have more nightmarish words ever been said. But now I want to know what you guys think. Is GW just going to run Warhammer and everything else they have under their belt straight into the ground? Or is there a chance they can reverse this damage they've done? Maybe it is just one retcon. Maybe this is where it stops. Maybe they'll learn their lesson. I personally don't think so. The last 10 years have kind of proven that to me. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and eat some tacos.